Hi, friends. Today we're talking about the Alpha Legion. Or are we? Yes, we are. The Alpha Legion are the 20th Legion and the premier masters of disguise, infiltration, and anything confusing. They look super cool, have a sick as hell Hydra theme, and their lore is really, weird. Or is it? By nature, their covert and mysterious nature, the Alpha Legion's lore is contradictory and incomplete, by nature. Many of their lore blurbs end with, actually, this might not be true though, or is framed as a in-universe report slash theory, which I actually find quite annoying, but more on that later. But all in all, the Alpha Legion is super unique among Space Marine legions, and they have some pretty cool lore. Just like basically everything with the Legion, their origin is a bit cloudy. But what is known is that they're made alongside the Space Wolves and Salamanders, separate from the other legions in a group called the Trefoil. And originally, they acted almost like a secret police. With no distinguishable heraldry, the Alpha Legion completed special operations abducting people, assassinating key figures, and being sent on targeted strikes. And in these early years, the Legion was kept small at around 1,000 Marines. Or were they? In this time, they were only known as a rumor of a ghost legion commanded by a mysterious leader. Later, it'd be theorized that this leader was likely Alpharius. This is supported by the fact that he had the super insanely clever secret moniker of Alpha. Which, speaking of Alpharius, Alpharius is the Primarch of the Alpha Legion. Or, should I say, one of the Primarchs of the Alpha Legion. Ooh, that's right. Now there are two of them. Alpharius had a twin brother named Omegon, and this just makes all their stuff even trickier since they love nothing more than some Lindsay Lohaning Parent Trap style. But again, Alpharius and Omegon's origin is pretty murky and there's a lot of contradictory reports. Probably the most credible of these reports is that Alpharius was found on Terra very shortly after the Primarchs were scattered, and from there, he was secretly trained by the Emperor, Malcador, and Valdor. And during this time, he was anonymously commanding his Ghost Legion. Another report, however, that doesn't technically contradict the first one is that Alpharius was found by Horus and engaged in a little space skirmish. Despite having primitive ships, Alpharius' fleet managed to disable a patrol cruiser, and Alpharius was eventually able to board Horus' flagship to meet his brother. This little incident earned Alpharius the respect of Horus, and he was taken back to Terra to meet his legion. Other than the idea that this was Alpharius' first encounter with the Imperium, this doesn't necessarily contradict the first story, since Horus wouldn't have known about Alpharius, and Alpharius could have been conducting his little shadow operations in this little system that Horus met him in. But both of these are, at the very least, implied to be at least a little misleading. Regardless, though, of when or how he met his legion, Alpharius and Omegon would shape their legion into his perfect beast. Alpharius and Omegon was one of the most intelligent and cunning of all the Primarchs, and he believed the best attack was a multifaceted, tactically fluid assault that assailed the victim from all possible angles. All of his battle plans would be open to new options if called for, and he emphasized the power of the group over the individual. The Alpha Legion was not a legion of boisterous heroes and glory hounds like most of the others. Rather, they were a unified beast composed of many cells working in perfect unison. This is the reason they all refer to themselves as Alpharius. Beyond the misdirection aspect, they are a collective unit. They are Alpharius. Or are they? And this is further amplified by the fact that Alpha Legionnaires largely look the same to one another. The average Alpha Legionnaire is also taller than the average Space Marine. This is in conjunction with the fact that Alpharius and Omegon were the shortest Primarchs, meant that in special cases the Primarchs composed as regular Marines and vice versa. But before we go further, let me infiltrate your tummy with a yummy meal. That's right, Factor's back to sponsor the channel again. Factor's a fresh, never frozen meal service, and all their meals are super easy to prepare, only taking 2 minutes, and best of all, they're legitimately good. Since I liked the salmon so much last time, I decided to get some more, and the Cajun salmon and shrimp might be my new favorite. The salmon was once again very moist and flavorful. This was helped by the fact that Cajun's one of my favorite spices, and the grits that came with it were a really flavorful complement to the seafood. Every Factor meal is real food with real ingredients prepared by professional chefs and is dietitian approved. And you get a ton of options with the rotating weekly menu of over 100 options to fit whatever taste or diet plans you'd like. So get a delicious meal delivered straight to your door and support your wellness journey with Factor. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CrackDuckFB50 to get 50% off on your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code CrackDuckFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Huge thanks to Factor for sponsoring this video. But back to their battle tactics. Along with their initial master plan, the Alpha Legion always has a series of contingencies, and part of attacking from all angles included non-Astartes angles. A common tactic for the Alpha Legion is to garner the support of local military forces either through manufacturing civil unrest, bribery, coercion, or even just simple trickery. In addition, they have little honor in battle and will do anything necessary to win. Famously, they're known to imitate their opponents in war-crimific ways. But finally, and most importantly, the Alpha Legion is literally this meme. They are infamous for overcomplicating literally everything, nearly to the point of insanity. They'll turn simple assaults into intricate 367-step orchestras of wasted time. While this has a high success rate and allows the Alpha Legion to take over worlds with far less Marines and low casualty rates, this approach is outright stated to be less efficient than if they were just to go down to the planet and do their job. Due to their inefficiency, many of the other Primarchs have criticized the Alpha Legion tactics, but this only fueled Alpharius' ego trip, and he would strive to take on the hardest war zones with increasingly convoluted plots. When asked why he does this, he simply states, "Well, because anything else would be too easy." But you know what? Spitefully elongating tasks to waste company time is honestly kind of based, so maybe they aren't so bad. Anyways though, these perceived inefficiencies along with the Legion just kind of being annoying meant that most Primarchs didn't like them. The only one who truly appreciated Alpharius and his boys was Horus, which segues nicely into the Horus heresy. When Horus committed his heresy, Alpharius chose to align himself with Horus and the traitor forces. Or did he? Why exactly he did this is once again not completely known, but it was undoubtedly influenced by a number of factors. First off, there was the simple fact that Horus was a nice guy who stroked Alpharius' tactical ego. Then, for a more complicated and stupid explanation, an ancient cabal of Xenos, creatively known as the Cabal, told Alpharius and Omegon a prophecy that foretold two possible outcomes of the Horus heresy. First off was, if Horus failed and was slain, then humanity would suffer and decay for tens of thousands of years before ultimately empowering chaos to destroy the entire galaxy. Or Horus would succeed and, empowered by chaos, would bring a quick end to humanity, and this rapid extinction would effectively burn out chaos and save the galaxy. And between total annihilation and, well, not that, Alpharius decided that the latter was better. Or maybe he didn't. But anyways, being sided with Horus, the Alpha Legion participated in the Isfahan 5 dropsite massacre, killing Salamanders, Raven Guard, and Iron Hands. This was helped by the fact that the Alpha Legion had secretly developed anti-space marine bolts. In addition, they had their apothecaries transplant the faces of slain Raven Guard to Alpha Legion agents in order to infiltrate the Legion and cause further silliness. But they may have also helped the Loyalist out too. Ooh, maybe. And throughout the heresy, the Alpha Legion would continue their shenanigans, sometimes even potentially helping the Imperium. Or did they? They were also supposedly engaged in a shadow war against themselves. Ooh, or were they? And then, perhaps their most famous heresy moment was when they led a vanguard assault against the Imperial Fist on Pluto. Here Alpharius would eventually duel Dorn, and he cryptically told Dorn that he was there to help him. To which Dorn said, and then beheaded Alpharius. Other than that, though, they helped out in the final moments of the heresy, and when Horus was defeated, they retreated like the other traitors. However, unlike the other traitors, they didn't flee to the Eye of Terror, rather, they stayed hidden in real space. Then, their next big conflict was after the heresy when they fought the Ultramarines on Escador. This was a pretty big ego match for Alpharius, since Guilliman would often tell him that his tactics were stupid and also dumb. And Guilliman would frequently push his codex on Alpharius. As such, Alpharius masterfully utilized his knowledge of the Codex to stage a masterful battle plan to stonewall and destroy the rigid and foolish Ultramarines. And then Guilliman did something unexpected. He did the unexpected. Ooh! He just sent a giant airdrop to assault the Alpha Legion's fortified holdout and kicked their ass for a while, and then he killed Alpharius. Or did he? Ooh. But after this initial blunder, the Alpha Legion would eventually make up for it as they attacked the trapped Ultramarines and slowly bled their forces, leading to Gilliman rage quitting at the Alpha Legion's dishonorable tactics. So, all according to plan. And after Escador, the Alpha Legion officially broke up into many contingents in order to better hide from the Imperium. Across the galaxy, the Alpha Legion set up secret bases and continued to sow chaos in order to further their plans. Whatever those plans may be. And in the present time, the Alpha Legion is probably the least Chaos Legion, which may seem ironic since they love covertly sowing chaos. Generally, though, they don't like working with demons since they're unpredictable, they have low mutation rates, and they aren't aligned with any Chaos God. The Alpha Legion operates in many warbands, which are often further divided into cells. These cells operate independently to complete different parts of the warband's master plan. And the warbands generally work together towards the overall Alpha Legion plan. Even if no one knows what the plan is at this point. That's right. Thanks to the ravages of time and the Alpha Legion's propensity for convolution, the Alpha Legion has been known to come into conflict with themselves, either due to them interpreting plans differently, conflicting goals, or perhaps it is part of the plan. Or is it? But overall, they're still unified for the most part despite splitting into warbands, and they're all working together for their ultimate plan. Maybe. Who even knows? But regardless, they operate very similar to how they did in the Heresy era. They often avoid direct combat when possible, and prefer subterfuge, infiltration, brainwash, and double agents, and sowing distrust and chaos within the enemy ranks before striking from many angles to overwhelm their crippled foe. In addition, they continue to heavily utilize non-Astartes cultist cells. These include rebel groups, covert military organizations, and even Xenos groups. This even further widens their influence in spy networks. Plus, it's a lot easier to spy and infiltrate when you aren't a 7-foot-tall monster man. And to coordinate these cells, the Alpha Legion is theorized to utilize quote-unquote operatives who are regular humans that receive Marine-level psycho-hypnotic indoctrination and even limited Marine augments in special cases. These operatives are just as cunning as Alpha Legionnaires, but present as unaugmented humans, so they're able to operate more covertly. Other fun facts are that they're masters of disguise and often get cosmetic surgery for their schemes. Or are they? They've maybe helped found the Blood Games, and their current chaos activities may be an intricate version of this as they test the Imperium and cull the weak. Or is it? But anyways, I have complex feelings on the Alpha Legion. On one hand, they have my favorite aesthetic of any Chaos Legion, and honestly, they might be my favorite aesthetic of any Space Marine. Further, their fighting style is cool, I like the idea of schemes and subterfuge, and the regular human and Xenos auxiliaries are all very interesting. On paper, at least. Honestly, I find in practice that the Alpha Legion is more obnoxious than cool. This is totally subjective, of course, but I rarely read an Alpha Legion tale and think, oh wow, these guys are smart and cunning. Rather, I read one and think, wow, these guys are fucking exhausting. Oh wait, there's one more paragraph. The Alpha Legion won, they're very cunning and cool, and it's all part of the plan, or was it all a lie? Oh, we don't really know for sure. Oh, okay then, Sentence. I guess the Alpha Legion is smart and cool. Psst, silly old me. And this isn't to say I don't like stories that leave things ambiguous. In fact, I prefer that over the trend of explaining every single thing for TikTok clips. However, I believe that for an ambiguous and complex story to actually be compelling, there has to be a little give. It's not interesting if every single thing is hit with the, oh, or it could be a lie. We don't really know. Oh. And reading, oh, but some reports say this, in an Alpha Legion tale is almost as annoying as reading about how brilliant they are for turning the process of making toast into a 60-step plan. Some reports say that this is annoying, but other reports say this is stupid. But I'm Alpharius, and this is all part of my plan. Like, come on, you need to know at least some of the plan to appreciate its brilliance, otherwise it just comes off like a jackass bumbling around saying that he meant to do that. And honestly, the Heresy getting 1 billion books and expanding on the Alpha Legion lore hurt them in so many ways. I know I'm in the minority, but again, the Heresy getting such a detailed look at is such a disservice in so many ways. It really kills the mystique and legendary feel of the era. Like, it's a lot more intriguing and easier to buy into the Alpha Legion being covert masterminds when you aren't given a 65 long novel glimpse behind the curtains. And more than anything, I feel the Alpha Legion, unshockingly, benefits from obscurity. Oh man, and this isn't even getting to the fucking I'm Alpharius memes. Once again, it's a repetitive memes distilling a cool and interesting piece of lore into a TikTok soundbite to spam ad nauseum. Forget the Horus Heresy, the war between who can be more annoying, Alpharius or Shovelman, is a far more intense battle. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, Alpha Legion? More like Beta Legion, am I right, boys? I will say though, I do like the fact that they're so bombastically stupid with their overplanning. It feels fun and whimsical. Also, perhaps I just bitched and complained about the Alpha Legion for like 3 minutes to bait out comments defending the Legion and shining a light on what truly makes them cool, so that people can see how awesome they truly are. I might just very well be #1 Alpha Legion fan in the entire world. And this is all part of my master plan. I guess no one can truly know, and I am indeed really smart and cool, huh? But whatever the plan is, thank you for watching this video. Or did you watch it? Might want to watch it again just to be sure. And let me know what you think of the Alpha Legion, their crazy shenanigans. And be sure to tell me who Alpharius is in the comments below. Oh, and one more thing. Hail Hydra. Wait, fuck, I got the line wrong. Well, whatever. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my awesome patrons. Please like, comment, subscribe, and consider sharing to all your Alphariuses. Thanks. And that's the end of the video. Or is it?